What is unethical is fluff, but is extremely common practice in the business world. Firing a manager then dumping their responsibilities on a regular worker with no pay raise. I worked as a fraud investigator at a bank. We have rules and laws that we have to abide by, or the company got fined. I had a higher up, probably second or third tier from CEO, tell us explicitly that there are no exceptions to the rules, except for our more affluent customers. Not paying invoices until you've been chased multiple times. As standard policy. I hate how convoluted it is to cancel a gym membership in most places. It's super shady. Sometimes you have to mail a letter to the company's headquarters. Canceling at the gym isn't enough. Lots of people have gotten bills months later even though they were told over and over it was complete. When I worked part-time at Sam's Club, the manager was intentionally cutting our hours back to take away from our bonus and add to his at the end of the year. Chronically and purposely understaffing. Looking at you, retail and assisted living companies. Unpaid internships are supposed to be on-site learning opportunities but are often just slave labor. The multitudes of ways in which work life bleeds into personal life and you're expected to just accept that, and worse, actively embrace it, else you're perceived as someone who doesn't want to get ahead or otherwise isn't as valued as the person who does. The company will always try and get more free time from you but far less than always, bordering on never, actually give you back what that extra time costs. Using a bid process to get competitive information and then use it to negotiate a deal instead of awarding the bid you advertised. Raising prices before putting items on sale. Hiding fees until the service is provided. Purposefully giving part-time employees erratic schedules so they can't take on a second job. I don't know about unethical as fluff, but going through the motions of pretending to entertain outside candidates when you've already decided on who internally will get the job. Wastes everyone's time. This one was invented by Walmart, but I know that Home Depot does it too. I am sure other larger companies do it as well. 1. Place an order with a legally crafted purchase order. One of the T&C is that the company reserves the right to cancel the order at any time for any reason. 2. The smaller company receiving the PO is all excited and they go ahead to fill the order. This often involves paying out or borrowing money in order to fulfill the order. 3. After the product is ready to be shipped, the buyer calls the company saying stuff like the pricing need work, we can't make money at this price point, we need some concessions. Practically they negotiate a lower price that results in the seller working for very little money or barely breaking even or losing money on the orders at times so badly to go out of business. Read the story of Vlasic. Treating people bad, to make them quit the job because you don't have the balls to fire them or you are afraid that the word your company can fire someone anytime will spread and you will lose control. My old salaried position requires copious amounts of overtime. In the end my hourly wage was less than the people I was supervising. Not telling employees that the company or division has a planned date to shut down, then letting them go the day of. This happens everywhere from major mega corporations to mom and pop restaurants. There are reasons as to why, given that there's still money to be made up until the last minute and you don't want your employees to slack off. And while obviously it's devastating to the employees who get laid off, it can also be pretty bad to the employees aren't getting laid off but have to be told ahead of time and can't say anything. And unpaid overtime, more colloquially referred to as being on salary. Loyalty is punished by laying the most work on the most productive, while overlooking these workers for promotions. Larger companies that kill competition, innovation by buying out smaller companies just to stop what the smaller company is doing or even keep lobbying the government to create barriers, restrictions for entry. Favoritism, promoting people into positions who have no business being there. Employer wage theft is said to exceed the amount of normal theft in the US. Firing someone the moment you find out they're looking for another job. In Australia businesses would open for 11 months. They would sell products for cheaper than their competitors could because they paid no tax on them. Then when tax time came they would wind up the business to start a new one in a month's time. It was so common business tax went from being done yearly like income tax to being done 3 monthly. Might be even more frequent now. I've been out of Australia for the last 18 years. Selling user data. Strongly encouraging employees to not share their salaries with one another so that you can play favorites without anyone finding out. Giving your employees just few enough hours that they don't qualify as a full-time employee, so you don't have to pay them benefits. Unpaid internships. Hire them as independent contractors so that you don't have to actually give them any benefits, travel, healthcare, etc. And so you have a quick tax write-off, but still force them to sign exclusive contracts where you can't work anywhere else. WWE would be freaking screwed if anyone with money ever tried suing them and didn't take a settlement. Settlements mean no decision can be made, it would force a decision they wouldn't like. Firing people for medical issues. I don't know about all the states etc. If anyone knows, please illuminate. A coworker of mine took a long medical leave for a spinal issue she was having with her neck. I believe she had surgery and then was on leave for a few weeks. Doc recommended not working more than 4 hours a day. When she came back with that news to our, they fired her on the spot. I thought medical issues would be a discriminatory termination, but apparently they can just let you go if the state is at will. Sorry you had this invasive surgery that cost you a fortune, but you don't have a job anymore, see ya. Fine print. I always read it because all the bad stuff is there, but so many don't know to. Closing parenthesis. Categorizing your employees as salaried simply so that you don't have to pay them overtime if they are forced to stay late. But wait, you came in late? Make up those hours. Convenience fees for online transactions. Letting people butt kiss their way to the top when they are highly unqualified. Happens more than it should and causes a lot of issues for people who are under them or who didn't get that position because they don't butt kiss, but are way more qualified. Mechanic doing work on your car you don't need. I brought my car in when my axle broke to a shop I don't normally go to. The car was damaged beyond repair, but they decided to add on a new set of tires before coming to that conclusion. Bribes are super common. Over half of us university instructors are part-time faculty paid per class, adjuncts and graduate students, non-full-time, no job security, no benefits. Often these teachers commute school to cover enough hours to make a living wage. Tenured professors work hard and deserve the benefits they receive usually, but the rest of the faculty are barely making a living and can barely pay off their own school loans. Edit. The technique where places like Starbucks open an unnecessary amount of stores, so that their competition such as smaller, family-owned coffee shops are out of business. Then close the extra shops down. Savage edit. Someone commented the name of it, market saturation. Lobbying the government to change the law to benefit your business. You pay for electioneering, they get elected and hook you up, lower taxes, weakened regulations, etc. Hacking democracy. When it comes to retail, the only thing a company cares about is profit. Forget safety or empathy. Last year when Virginia had that light snowfall that became a full-on blizzard, my store forced the employees to work until nightfall before letting them leave. By forced I mean, the regional manager, aka the store manager's boss, said no to any suggestions of closing early. My commute home usually takes about 22 meters when traffic is light. That turned into almost a 2-hour crawl home. Multiple times I skidded and nearly went into a ditch. It was honestly one of the scariest moments of my life because if I had gotten stuck on the highway in that mess, I could have very easily died. 0-hour contracts. Basically you are a full-time employee, but have no set hours, and have to come when you're called, or otherwise be scheduled as they see fit. Edit. Lots of queries. Here is a Wikipedia article on this issue that answers most questions better than I can. Expensing items that should be capitalized. Giving people an hour below what is considered full-time so they don't need benefits. And also apparently changing people's timecards frequently. Every job I've had has done that, and at the expense of my hours, pay too. Requiring cashiers to stand. This is a job that can be 100% competed while seated. There is absolutely zero benefit in requiring these low-paid employees from being on their feet for 8 hours a day. Hiding all your assets and going into bankruptcy so you don't have to pay the people you screwed over with your addictive medications. Exporting slavery overseas to keep production costs low. Predatory loan lending. Insider trading, nepotism. Planes overbooking their flights. You are literally selling something you don't have. Giving employees the boot because they are in their 50s and can be replaced by 20-somethings. Especially when they might qualify for a pension after a few more years. Going to a small family-run paper company, pretending to be a lawyer who is interested in buying paper there and get their list of satisfied clients. Then turning that list over to your boss in a larger paper company in order to destroy the small company. Firing someone because of a medical condition. Happened to me. I hope they burn for it. Reading this thread, being concerned if I'll ever be able to make a good salary because I'm unwilling to be a two-faced butt and fluff people over.